When I was a kid, I loved watching Mythbusters. But back then it was just a show where people explore with things. But now I look back at it and I see geniuses who had really great ideas and who could come up with those great ideas every single time, every single episode. In 1991 in Palo Alto, there was a company established called Ideation, and that company specializes in designing products. So they get the ideas out of people and then they refine those into the first prototypes, and then those prototypes are being used to create that first product that then is being tested on real customers. When I started studying engineering in university, I had to start coming up with ideas for my projects. And I was thinking, how do those people get that creative? How can they come up with hundreds of great ideas on the spot? So I really dived into the topic. I really took a bunch of courses. I've researched those companies. I've researched Apple. I've researched that Ideal company. I've researched Mythbusters. I've talked to Jamie Heineman about the ideation process when he was coming to our university. Now I can actually call myself creative and I can actually come up with ideas on the spot, that is a skill that can be also developed. And today I'm going to share with you those techniques that really helped me and those techniques that I figure out, and hopefully it will improve your creativity and you will also be able to come up with really cool ideas on the spot. So let's dive in. But before we start coming up with ideas, first we need to create an environment around ourselves where we are allowed to be creative, where we are encouraged to share our ideas and actually come up with stuff. So how do you do that? And Ideal had a bunch of brainstorming rules that it required its staff to follow when it comes to coming up with ideas on those kind of sessions. So the first rule is no more than 8 people allowed in each meeting, because otherwise it's going to be too many people, too many noises. Hold one conversation at a time. That would allow each of us to speak up. Stay focused on one topic, because if everyone speaks about different things, that's also a hard environment to work at. Encourage wild ideas. That is probably the most important rule, is when people are not afraid to come up with something completely stupid, because those stupid ideas could be the ones that could work out. Defer judgment to avoid interrupting the flow of ideas. That's also very important. And you need to build on ideas of others. Go for quantity, not quality. Just get as many ideas as possible. And be visual. So sketch things, use drawings. Even if you're stuck at drawing, still do that. You need to break the barrier of false logic that defines what ideas are possible and what impossible, what are useful or useless, what are awesome or plain stupid. Okay, but how do you actually come up with ideas? There are a lot of approaches and methods to do that. For example, today we'll be talking about TRIZ. So TRIZ is the theory of inventive problem solving, came from Soviet Russia. That's why acronym doesn't work out really. My favorite one is the ideal solution. So consider a car. What is the purpose of the car? To get us from point A to point B. How else can we solve that problem, which is the problem of transportation? So according to TRIZ, or ideal solution, the ideal car would be no car at all, but we're still able to travel from point A to point B. And we just need to get as close to that ideal solution as possible, which is teleport. And teleport right now is not going to get us anywhere with ideas, but let's keep thinking. Another ideal car, well, what first comes to mind? Probably Tesla. Okay, it's debatable, but Tesla is electric, so no emissions. It's stupid fast, it's pretty, and well, it has a 5-star rating on the safety, so that's why it's close to a perfect car. Okay, but let's draw Tesla real quick, because after all, we need to be visual. Tesla. Details. Beautiful. First, when someone buys an electric car or buys a Tesla, what is their biggest concern? Their biggest concern is that they run out of battery in the middle of nowhere and they cannot charge it. So, which is also concern for them is how long can they go in one charge. So how do we solve that problem? We can consider the 3-solution principle. You can solve a problem in 3 ways. You can prevent it, you can fight it, or you can ignore it. Ignore it means you can just focus on other areas. But how do you prevent that problem? Preventing the problem means actually not having battery at all, so which means just not running out of juice at all. One thing that comes to my mind is to have a road with induction coils so that it charges wirelessly. That way you actually don't need the battery at all. So that it kind of like with phones. So as long as it goes along the road with induction coils underneath, it transfers the energy to the car wirelessly. Or another way, you can have the car covered in PV panels, so that throughout the day it charges through the sunlight and use that energy in the night. Or you can use the special kinds of motors that also can be used as generators so that they convert the mechanical energy of the wheels into the electricity that could be used to power the vehicle. Okay, those ideas are not the best. They could be even stupid. But it gets me started. Alright, how else can we increase the range of the vehicle? Well, we can fight the problem by actually improving the battery technology, putting the nuclear energy under the hood, putting the fuel cell. We're actually focusing on other areas. If we focus on other areas, that means we're trying to solve the problem in other ways, which means we're ignoring the problem. It could be, for example, in reducing the friction between the tires and the road, or increasing the overall efficiency of the car, reducing the drag, removing the side view mirrors, cameras in front of the driver so that he still can see what's going on in the side view mirrors because they're like cameras outside. And removing the side view mirrors actually decreases the drag significantly. You can also increase the drivetrain efficiency. Essentially, you're not focusing on the battery per se, you're trying to increase the range in other ways, focusing on other areas. That means we're ignoring the problem. Okay, when we talk about segmentation, the next approach is basically when we talk about the huge complex system or even a complex problem, but we break it down in smaller independent parts and we go from there. Next approach is contradiction. The best and the sure way to solve a problem is to remove those contradictions. So instead of aluminum, we use, titanium or, stainless steel. The car becomes heavier, maybe even more expensive, but the safety increases. So again, contradiction. You improve the body of the car, you put more material in there, that's good, it becomes more safe, but in expense of the weight and the speed, and probably even the price. And there are two types of contradictions. There are technical contradictions and physical. So that was technical one, when the product gets stronger, which is good, but the weight increases, which is bad. The physical contradiction would be about, for example, a coffee. I want to drink a hot coffee to be enjoyed. That's good. But I also need that coffee to be cold so that I will not burn myself. Another contradiction would be the software should be complex, so it should have a lot of features, which is good, but it also should be simple to use. A lot of features, but simple to use, which is kind of hard to achieve. And those two statements literally contradictory to each other. So that's why if we solve that problem, you will have a perfect software. Next, let's talk about biomimicry, another cool approach from trees. That means that we take inspiration from models of the nature. When we look, at birds or trees and we see those processes and we're like, oh wow, I'm inspired and I can use the same process in my product and emulate it. For example, in terms of our car, we can put a camera with a 360 view. That gives the driver an ability to get more sense about the surroundings, which increases the safety of the car. That approach is used by ghost crabs or chameleons in the nature. So there you go. I took the inspiration from the nature. And final approach we're going to talk about is function-oriented search, is when we take the inspiration from other products or other industries. So we see a product that uses something, some device for its own purpose, we realize that, hey, I can use the same thing for my product also. For example, if I want to increase the range of the car, I need to improve my ability to plan the route, which means I should have a good navigation system to increase the range so that I wouldn't make unnecessary circles around town. There you go. I took inspiration from other industry. Okay, a more radical approach would be taking inspiration from shipping industry, from, Amazon, and looking at their wrapping bubble paper and doing the same thing with the car so it becomes more safe because bubble paper, I don't know. It's an idea.
Okay, when I was looking through the files on my computer, I found the presentation I prepared for a course in my university when I was taking one of the courses on creativity and stuff. So, for example, I was thinking of ideas on how to improve a skateboard. So, let's start with the first one. Skateboarders go through a lot of shoes because when they do tricks, that sandpaper, which is on top of a skateboard, it ruins the shoes. One summer, I had to go through 10 pairs of shoes because the skateboard just screwed them up, all of them. The next would be anti-grease solution for rail grinding. So because, in the bench parks, there are where skateboarders grind on the benches or rails, there are always those that kind of wax is left over that you cannot really scrape off. I would think that it would be cool if on the skateboard there were like special little rollers that would allow the skateboard to slide through. Okay, another idea that I had is based on Newtonian fluid. So the Newtonian fluid is kind of like soft, but when pressure applied to it, it becomes hard. So when people do tricks on the skateboards, they want to have hard wheels for that. But if they want to go just and cruise around the city and the asphalt is rough or the road is just not smooth, they're gonna be really not that pleasant ride, because well, the wheels are small and they're really hard, so it's gonna go like drrrr. So I would think that, okay, we can use the Newtonian fluid, which is soft, but if the pressure is applied to it, it becomes hard. Wheels will be hard when you do tricks on it, and they will be soft when you don't do tricks on them. They don't jump, they have no force applied to it, they just roll. So that's why if the wheels are smooth, the ride is smooth and all good. Okay, coming to the next ideas. Right, the skateboard with a jet engine. Okay, some of the ideas are not that great. For example, the skateboard that can fly, swim, and ride. Okay, that is not a great idea, but I had dozens of ideas on skateboards, and all of them are crap, yes, but one of those ideas I actually could put my money on and actually build. For example, the skateboard and quadcopter. So, okay, we all seen like Back to the Future movie where there was a hoverboard, but it actually, well, it's already made. And the thing is, that hoverboard only works on the road where there are magnets, right? So if the poles on the magnets are the same, they will be repelling. So that's why that there's kind of like levitation happening on that hoverboard. But I thought it would be cool if the skateboard could fly like a quadcopter and you can stand on it and fly. Okay, again, I'm not sure that it will be even legal to make, and it certainly won't be allowed to use around the city. But damn, it's a pretty good idea actually. Considering, well, other ideas are limited in my knowledge and my use of technology and my resources currently to, for example, create that Newtonian wheels. I'm not sure if it's even possible, but it's an idea that led me further a bunch of other ideas, because I had to come up with dozens of ideas to recognize that out of those dozens of ideas, there was one that was really good, which is the quadcopter and skateboard. For example, skateboard and quadcopter is very much possible. Putting a jet engine under the skateboard is not safe and, well, very questionable in terms of technology and scientific laws. But, damn, one of those ideas was really good. The point is, just don't be afraid to come up with something bold, because you never know, one of those bold ideas will be actually the one that could work.
So you can use these methods or even come up with some other methods, but you need to build up the confidence. That way you will actually build up also your creativity, and you will be able to come up with hundreds of ideas on the spot in one sitting. You just need to practice it like anything else. And don't forget that you need to create that environment around yourself where you surround yourself with people who are not toxic, who actually encourage you to come up with wild ideas and are not judging you for the possibility or even stupidity of your ideas. Don't be afraid of being bold with your ideas, because that's what moves the society forward, is the crazy, bold, and really good ideas.